I went ahead and started our recording. My name is Anita Gonzalez, and I am the statewide program coordinator with New Mexico MESA. I'd like to welcome you all to STEM series number 5. This is our last STEM series for the semester. So we are very thankful and just to have you guys on for us today. Today, this is our first STEM series where we are doing a panel. So this is our first opportunity to do a speaker panel. So thank you guys all for being here with us today. Our session will be with Santa Fe Community College, and we have some engineering and computer science students that are on with us today to give you some information about themselves and also to answer any questions that you may have. So with that, I am going to pass it off to Mr. Ed Warden. He is going to be our moderator for today and also help, moderate between the students at Sfcc and also with any questions that you all may have. So thank you, Ed.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. It's good that at least we can collaborate this way so that we can still share ideas. And actually, you can get a lot of different perspectives this way that we might not be able to get all in one place otherwise. So it's kind of exciting. I know that like Sarah, for example, are you in Socorro now?
No, I'm actually in Wisconsin right now.
Oh, okay. Even farther away, but you can still be here with us. So that's pretty exciting. Right?
Yeah, and sorry about the background movement and noise. People are just around the house dealing with some stuff outside. So yeah, sorry about that. If you guys hear anything weird.
No worries. We know you're in a different time zone at least. So, okay, well, thanks everybody for being here. Today, we're joined by 3 students who are either current Santa Fe Community College students or former students. Well, I guess 4 if you include myself, because I'm a former community college student at Sfcc as well. And so we have students at different places in their academic path. Ryan is a first-year computer science student, and Aaron is a, would it be appropriate to call you a 3rd-year nursing student, but also has interest in engineering. And so she's going to tell you a little bit about that. And then Sarah is a recent grad who has transferred to New Mexico Tech. And that was a decision she labored about for a while. And she might tell you a little bit about that and how she got there. So without too much further ado, if you don't mind, Aaron, kind of taking us out here with a little perspective as a current high-level Sfcc student, tell us a bit about your experience and your background and any advice you have for students.
Sure. Well, so I spent a lot of time working in healthcare before I ended up at Sfcc, 10 years. And what I kind of learned in that time was I really wanted to take my experience in healthcare and take it to another level. And I wanted to be able to bring innovation to nursing, because what I did in healthcare, what I saw in healthcare was basically that there were a lot of problems that needed addressing, and I want to be able to address them. So what I'm doing right now is a dual degree program. Sfcc, many people do not know, actually has a 4-year degree in nursing. So I simultaneously go to Sfcc and the University of New Mexico. So I will leave both with an associate's and a bachelor's in nursing. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. We get to take courses that nobody else gets to take. We have a really special program where only 24 students get to enter into nursing each semester, and nobody else gets to take those courses that we get to take.
That's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Ryan, would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience this first semester in the computer science program and some thoughts that you have for students?
Yeah, absolutely. I've gone to Santa Fe Community College before, but this is the first time doing it for a degree in science and computer science, specifically in engineering. And the things that I can definitely say are, it's a different experience going to school online for sure. I think all of us are experiencing some of that if we haven't done that before. And there was a lot of motivation pieces and a lot of organization pieces that were more on my lap than typically are found when you go to classes in class spaces. But it's super fascinating. The teachers were fantastic. The information was fantastic. And I'm super excited to continue on with this program through the STEM core and just kind of, again, take part in, this awesome experience of being in a cohort and having a group of people that I get to travel through this experience with. It's super exciting and super cool. So I hope that's some insightful information there.
Can you explain to the students a little bit about the STEM core or the cohort and exactly what that is, and then maybe how it benefited you?
So the STEM core is, it's science, math, or science, engineering, math, and technologies, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. But essentially what the cohort is you get with a group of people who are all going through the same exact classes at the same exact time, and you get to travel through this entire degree with these people. And it's super cool because it creates a little community. It creates kind of a way for you to bounce information off of other people, and it creates accountability and kind of a community feeling while you're going through this schooling process. And it ties you in with some amazing opportunities through LANL, and just other really cool opportunities that help facilitate your journey through this program. It's pretty amazing, actually.
That's cool. And I know that Aaron's program, for example, the nursing program, is a cohort-based program as well. And that's something that has been, pretty successful in STEM education, it seems. So that's good to hear. Thank you for sharing that. And Sarah, can I introduce you? Sarah is, I think I already told you, she recently graduated, but she's now a full-time student at New Mexico Tech. And among other things, she'll tell you a little bit about how she got there. And so if you don't mind, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. So I started at a community college, well, over 2 years now. And it was a very interesting journey. I really enjoyed, like, Ryan was saying about, the community and the partnership with the professors. That was really good. It actually helped me realize, like, what I really wanted to do with my professional career. I actually had done college already. I already had 2 bachelors in business, and then decided that that was not for me. So I wanted to do engineering. And at the community college, that kind of reinforced that mentality, like that I really wanted to be STEM oriented, that I wanted to be an engineer, that I want to be an aerospace engineer, for that matter. I was lucky enough that I had a lot of support from my teachers and advisors like Ed. And I was able to participate in programs for NASA. So after participating with NASA, I realized that that's definitely my dream. That's what I want to do. And I decided to pursue the 4-year degree for mechanical engineering and aerospace at New Mexico Tech. That's how I ended up there. I got offers from other universities. I got an offer from the #1 aerospace engineering program here in the country, but I had to say no to it just so I could stay closer to home, and also due to financial reasons. And New Mexico Tech has been wonderful. Actually, thanks to them right now, this is my first semester. They've been fantastic. I had the support of uh, the whole mechanical engineering department right now, and I was able to submit a very big proposal for astronaut suits. So I'm going to be working with that hopefully starting January if we pass the next round. I'm also working on another proposal for lunar exploration, doing robots for the moon to support the Artemis missions. I am also working on another designing wings for airplanes, and I will be working with other projects that I am not able to disclose just yet, but all NASA related or definitely with designing aircrafts. So that has been my journey so far.
That's really cool when you're working on projects that you can't talk about.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm actually getting an internship. I got an internship at NASA starting January. So I'm going to be working for Armstrong Research Flight Center. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that starting January.
And what are you going to be doing for them?
I'm going to be doing project management for logistics. So I will be in charge of making sure that they receive all the parts for aircrafts, testings, anything that they need. I will be in charge of overseeing that alongside and overseeing some of the students as well that are going to be interns there.
Very cool. Well, hopefully that gives you a little insight into who these students are and how they are traveling their educational path, and let you think about what it is that you want to study and how you want to get there. Right now, we have some other things we will talk about, but we'd like to turn it over to you and get questions from you that you have for students so that we can, answer the questions you really have. So this is your chance to get the candid answers from students to students. So I'll give everybody a second to put their questions here.
And just as a reminder, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to either type them in the chat box. So if you're not sure where that is, on your screen, you should have like a little bubble, and it just works basically like a text box. So just go ahead and type any questions in there. Or if you're feeling brave, or you are more than welcome also to unmute yourself and ask a question that way. We'd love to field them. We do have some general questions that we'll ask, but we would love to have any from our audience members.
Yeah, and while folks are kind of formulating their question or typing it in the chat or braving up to unmute, one thing that we really want to talk about is the difference between the work you do in the classroom as a college student and the work you do outside of the classroom, say with clubs or with other students, and how much time is spent in the classroom and how much time is spent outside the classroom, to give students kind of a comparison of compared to what they're doing now.
Well, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about how much classroom time I spend. I spend very little classroom time. In level 1 of nursing, leading up to nursing, you do a ton of classes. You do biology and chemistry, and then you get to nursing and you do spend your first semester deep in the books, and starting second semester, you are in the hospital working. And so I spent at least 12 hours every week in the hospital, and then an additional maybe 6 hours in lab. So lab is not like regular classroom. We have very high-tech labs on campus. We have these wonderful mannequins that have heart attacks and give birth and bleed and talk to you. And so when we're not in the hospital, we're there with our mannequins, resuscitating them.
That's cool. And Sarah, do you want to jump in on this and just kind of give us a perspective of how much time you spend kind of in class versus the things you were working on outside of class, like projects, internships, things like that?
It honestly, in engineering, it changes a little bit. It's a little bit different than what the medical field is. So we do spend a little more time in classroom just because it's heavily math oriented and physics, at least for what I'm going for. So I do have to spend a little bit more time for classes But also I am taking a higher load than normal. So that's my difference. Typical students, like freshman kids, usually it's very light and very fun classes, by the way, because you get to do the engineering part, but a little bit of art as well, because you do the design classes, which is a lot of fun to deal with. And then you have a lot of time spending, your time on other projects. I love research. So in my case, I devoted a lot of chunk of my time to do that. So I would say that I spent about 50-50 in my case.
That's good to hear. Okay, we've got a couple of questions here in the chat. One is to describe the Sfcc campus. Does anybody have some thoughts about how they would describe that?
It's fun, I would say. It's different. It's a smaller campus compared to UNM or New Mexico Tech or NMSU even. But it's a fun campus. There are plenty of labs, especially for the medical research portion. And Erin can tell you more about that, because I know that they have the mannequins and like this awesome what's it called, technology to teach the nursing students. But also for engineering, we have like 3D printers, and we get to play with these awesome toys around that makes it fun. The campus is fun in general. The food at the cafeteria is really good, surprisingly. So I will say that. And I don't know if Erin and Ryan want to back me up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the campus has a lot to offer, and it's surprisingly high tech for a community college. It's not beyond the 3D printers. There's a welding lab, there's hydroponics, not just in healthcare, there's not just the nursing labs, but we have a full emergency medical rig for the EMT courses. I'm trying to think of, the area of, if you guys are interested in art, the art stuff is just fabulous and amazing. And there's a whole wing dedicated to that as well.
Yeah, the
Oh, there's a
photography.
planetarium too. Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna agree. Like it's small, but it's really, really impressive. I've done art there. The photography center is amazing. I've done ceramics there. If they're still doing the ceramics, it was amazing. They had all kinds of amazing things there. Welding was fantastic, and their green technologies department is incredible now. They're offering all kinds of really, really cool stuff. And the way they've integrated into the actual buildings themselves is just awesome. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it now it has basically its own farm, and now there's an automotive school as well. So
Yeah.
it continues to expand, and it's pretty amazing. I see a couple questions in here, and
Yeah, there's a couple for you. Yeah, you want to take those?
So how much do I pay for nursing school? So I pay nothing for school. I actually netted $2,000 this semester. So basically, I get some really awesome scholarships. I haven't had to take out loans. It's not difficult to find scholarships available. My scholarships come from the school itself, and from Lanel, which I think Sarah was a Lanel scholar as well. And it's not necessarily need-based. They do want to see you doing a good job in your courses. So I would say get good grades, because that definitely, it pays. And then I see another question. When did I find my passion for nursing? So I was working in healthcare. Basically, I had done, CNA courses, EMT courses. I had done a whole lot of different things. And I had my own clients, and I was getting paid well, but I found that my clients weren't treated very well. And I would take them to the hospital, or I would take them other places. And there's a lot of prejudice against elderly people. There's a lot of prejudice against people in wheelchairs. One of the women that I worked for had a law degree. She was incredibly smart, and people would go up to her and treat her like she was 4 years old, and it would make me want to throw up. I wanted to be a nurse because I wanted to change the way people treated people with disabilities, and also bring innovation, because there were a lot of things that my clients could have used that have yet to be invented.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. We've got another question in the chat, and this might kind of follow up on some of that. What is your favorite project that you've worked on so far? So I have some ideas when it comes to some of you, but I'd like to hear from you. What's your favorite project, academic or co-curricular, right, that you've worked on that kind of made a lasting impression with you? Sarah, do you mind starting us off here? And
Sure.
try to pick one. Can you pick one?
Right. Well, actually, my baby, my baby project is I'm working. Well, like I was saying, I was working with spacesuits. So this is a challenge for NASA, which is lunar dust mitigation, which means that we are trying to find ways so the lunar dust, which is very abrasive and it can cause many medical issues to people, doesn't stick to the suits. So we focused our project on the boots of the astronauts to give them stability, because one of the problems that the astronauts from the Apollo missions had was that they were tripping a lot and rolling on the lunar dust. So our project is basically, we are creating stability to the astronauts by creating these boots that are similar to cleats. So we raise them a little bit off the ground and we give them the stability that they need on the dust. So that's being pretty much, that's probably my favorite project so far, because I got to learn a lot about the moon environment and also about human anatomy, again, with how people walk, how it's important to maintain a certain level of comfort as well, and how to make stability work in the human body. Now, take into account that now we're putting the moon environment, which changes gravity and there's no friction, there's no air, there's all these other variables to it that makes it really fun to figure out. So yeah, this is being like my baby project. I've worked for the past 2 months on this, trying to make it work, and yeah, it has been a very incredible experience, just learning about everything. And one of the cool things is that our project also could help people that have some walking impediments, like if you have a person that has multiple sclerosis, this could help them to walk more evenly again, to have that stability that they need. So this project could potentially also have benefits here on Earth. So that's why I really like this.
That's very cool. And it's neat that you had to learn about like human anatomy in order to accomplish this project in a different discipline, sort of, right? Proof that really the disciplines are overlapping. That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan, do you have a project, like an academic project or a club project or whatever you've worked on that has been kind of the most exciting or engaging thing for you?
So I did kind of join up with the STEM Core Club, and one of the projects that they were working on, or we were working on, or are still working on actually, is something that goes into the saddle of racehorses to track gait analysis through GPS, and also a few other key kind of monitoring features. And their hope is, it's really cool, is actually to be able to track a gait for these horses in a way that will allow for a deeper level of analysis to reduce injury, not only to the horses, but also to anyone riding the horses. It'll also help with, essentially looking at how the horses are moving, when and where they're doing their gains and losses in speed. Like there's all kinds of really cool variables. And so I'm a bit of a tinkerer. I've actually worked for REI and the shop and a few other things. And I have some disabilities, so I've worked on some of my own kind of braces and making my own braces for moving around in the world. And so I was essentially kind of working on how to integrate the GPS into the saddle in a way that would allow it to be kind of minimal and allow for aerodynamics and to track the horses in the right way at the right times. So it was super cool.
That is cool. That's one of those projects that you can't say too much about because who knows, it could be the next $1 million idea. So, Aaron, do you have a project you want to share with us, or something recently that you've worked on that's kind of cool?
So I actually would love to share a little bit about Operation Bandana. Certainly not my favorite project, but one that I'm very, very proud of. So back when the pandemic started, a friend of mine who's also in the nursing program and we got together and decided that we were going to make masks. And so we started really just small time. We put out on Facebook that we needed materials, and I ended up giving up the project when school started back up in August, but by the time I let it go, we had made over 60,000 masks. And actually Sarah helped us. She had created for me some skeletons, I would say. They're just squares that she created for me so that we could make masks with clear pierces over the mouth so that people who are deaf could have them. And the reason that's really important, and a lot of people don't know, but in the deaf community, mouth movement is very, very important, both for reading lips and for communicating, even though they're also speaking with their hands. So we were able to create these really awesome masks that had clear fronts, but also, another 60,000 that were distributed all over the state. And we went out and also delivered food and water to the Navajo Nation. I got to go on those myself. We collected many thousands of pounds of food and water. We were able to make use of the National Guard, and they would give us 2, 3, 4 full-size 18-wheelers at a time, and we would fill them all up, and we would just go from pueblo to pueblo and deliver what we had. And it was great. We had people all over the country, in fact all over the world, sending us food, sending us money. We set up an Amazon account and people would just send us stuff all the time. My entire house was full of goods. So that's a project that I'm really, really proud of. I'm glad I've given it a break because it was a full-time job, but I think we did a lot of good work.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And just an example of, some of the good you can do when the opportunity falls in your lap. And that's kind of, a little bit about what college is, right? Is going and exploring the opportunities and seizing the opportunities and seeing where they take you. So that's really cool. All right. Is it possible to get a scholarship at Sfcc? I'll take this a little bit and then let folks add in. What I'll say is that the scholarship process at the community college has improved a lot over the years. And so now it's a single form submission and you are eligible for all the in-house scholarships, of which there are many. And there are lots that are reserved for certain kinds of students, right? So specifically things like STEM, for instance. And so I strongly encourage you to apply for those, as well as getting connected with other scholarships like the Lanell Foundation Scholarship that a lot of our students, I think half of the students who received it were Santa Fe Community College students at one point in one semester. So it's a tremendous opportunity, and there are lots of scholarships out there for you. And so I'll let folks kind of chime in if they have some other ones.
I received the CBT scholarship this semester, and I'm sorry, I totally always forget the acronyms for everything, but it's the CBT, something for better
Contract,
tomorrow.
yeah, contract for better tomorrow. Yeah.
And actually, I mean, I did what everyone suggested who was going into STEM, who I had talked to previously, which is just applied for everything. Anything that popped up that I qualified for, I applied for. And it did take some time, but it did pay off. I got that scholarship. I got the Pell Grant. I got a few other things. So it was kind of cool to get those things because they all ended up paying for this semester, which ended up costing me nothing, which is awesome. So it was really good, and textbooks and a few other things were all taken care of, and it was so worth it. Commit to the time, like treat it with care. They want to know that you are invested. They want to know about you, and so having a few drafts, create your first one, share it with some people, and then have those revisions, and then maybe do a second draft, send it out to everyone, and get some more revisions, and then have that go in. It does make a big difference because they want to know that you're in it, and you want to really be connected to this process and invest the time that that is required to make it through these courses. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Really do invest your time in the applications, and furthermore, be really honest. And don't be afraid if you have gotten poor grades or you had to stop school or have had challenges. It's okay, and they want to know, and what they want to see is that you're making an effort to improve your situation. You're making an effort to get better grades. They don't want to see that you're perfect. They want to see what you're capable of and what you want to do for your community and how you want to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great point. How to make the they want to see you as a person, and they want to see what you want to do for your community as well. That is a very important point when applying for scholarships, as well as once you start at SFCC, you can always apply for more opportunities that will come up out there. There are plenty of scholarships for community colleges, college based, that you can Google around, and you can apply for them, and they will take them. I applied for the Lanell Scholarship. I applied for, because of my weird situation that I already have bachelor's, I do not qualify for Pell Grant and some federal money, but I did apply for the Lanell, for the Santa Fe Foundation, and I was able to get a couple of scholarships throughout my time at SFCC for that. If you feel like you have a poor grade, don't worry about it. Once you start at the community college, you can get it up and you can apply for scholarships. There are also other programs called honor societies, like the PTK, Phi Theta Kappa, that are very important that you should to join when you get your grade up to that level. They will, if you want to transfer or move on to a different college later on to a 4-year university, this will help you tremendously to get more funding and scholarships for your career. There are other even research opportunities that will give you stipends to help you move to a 4-year institution, or that will help you while you are at the community college. Like, I joined the AMP scholarship, which is a research project that you do pretty much during the summer. This is funded by NMSU, and they will help you. They will pay you to do this research, and also you can use these funds towards your towards your tuition, books, whatever you need to once you're done with your project. So there are different opportunities that you could definitely get funding during the summer or throughout your school year to help you get school paid for. So don't be afraid to ask. Ed is actually a great resource. He's great at finding stuff for us. So I would say that if you have questions, MESA is actually a partner of AMP. Thank you for whoever posted that. So yeah, absolutely keep that in mind because it is a great group. They help us a lot. And if you're interested in research like me, it will help you a lot. It will help your career. You make connections. You meet wonderful people. I still have friends from my first project, which was like 2 years ago. And yeah, it's just a great experience overall. So just keep that in mind. There's always opportunities that you could apply for.
And also, if you're thinking you're going to work while you're in school, both Presbyterian and Christus St. Vincent, like if you wanted to go into healthcare, you could get a lower level job, like a sitter, which is a really great job at both of those hospitals. And they will help you pay for school all the way through a PhD program. So if you're thinking about working and going to school, definitely look at jobs that might also help you pay to go through and improve yourself in that area. Even Lionel has jobs that are lower level, secretarial type jobs, and they'll help you pay to go for school as well. Again, all the way through a doctoral program.
Yeah, that's excellent advice about getting that experience while you're working. That's relevant. But one more plug for community colleges. Some of those opportunities are only available to community college students. For example, there's an internship at the Department of Energy Labs, like Lionel or Sandia, the community college internship that's separate from the undergraduate research opportunity so that community college students can get a shot at doing meaningful research. The same is true for NCAS, an opportunity that took Sarah to a NASA site. A NASA facility was reserved for community college students. And so I'd like to think that played some role in how you got to designing moon boots. So
exactly. And that actually helped me a lot because I started with this program that it was based for community colleges from NASA, and you don't have to be an engineer. You could be from any discipline. Like Erin, she's in the nursing program, but she could totally apply for this NASA program. It doesn't matter what discipline you are going for, you can still apply for it as long as you're in the community college. But this opened the doors for me to actually again get my internship for this coming spring. That was, I would say, that opened the door to many possibilities for me working at NASA. So this is just targeted for community colleges. So just keep that in mind. There are plenty of opportunities that will be targeted just for community college. Just because you're not going right away to a 4-year degree doesn't mean that you cannot still do things that you would do at a 4-year institution. So there are plenty of opportunities at Sfcc that you could definitely take advantage of.
And so, Sarah, can you just clarify, because we have a question in the chat about the engineering degree and whether it's a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, and just tell us a little bit about how you're stacking that. And
so at Sfcc, it's a 2-year degree program. So you pretty much end up with an associate in general engineering, meaning that you pretty much cover the basics for engineering in general. It is a little bit more oriented towards civil and mechanical, I would say, how it is taught at the community college. In my case, because I want to do aerospace and mechanical engineering, I had to transfer to a 4-year institution like New Mexico Tech. So because I did my first 2 years at the community college, now I have about 2 to 3 years left at New Mexico Tech. And then from there, because I also saved a lot of money by starting at a community college, to be honest, I will come out of my 4-year degree plan it's almost paid for, the whole thing. I will have very minimal debt because of it. And to be quite honest, that was probably one of the smartest decisions I made.
That's great. And so you're going to continue, but of course, you could go to work as an engineering technician or an engineering technologist full time and have a very meaningful career doing some great science with your 2-year degree. But you're destined to make moon boots, so you got to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. You can still have a very successful engineering career with just the two, with the associates. You can work at Lanol as a technician. There are different tiers and levels that you could start with that will take you further. Like if they would even pay you to, if you show that you're good enough, they will pay you to go back to school and finish that engineering, like the full 4-year engineering degree. But if you don't want to do the whole thing, you don't have to. It's a great opportunity. You still have all the bases. You can still have a really good paying job at Lanol or Sandia or any other place. Even NASA hires community college students. Some of the students that went to the site with me, they got hired to different NASA locations, and they are just being technicians building parts for the new rocket that they're building. So there are opportunities as an engineer that you don't have to go the full 4 years, that you could do 2, and you still have a very successful career as an engineer.
So Ed, can I address this question that I see here in the chat about what classes to take when you're in middle and high school?
Yeah, great. That would be a really good topic for us to talk about now. Thank you.
So, so one of the important things when coming to the community college or any collegiate institution is that you need to get good grades, because it stays with you forever. You cannot get rid of it. Anytime you go to a new institution, anytime you apply for a scholarship or want to get another degree, that grade is going to go with you. And one of the most important things you will take away from a college course, no matter what you're studying, is the ability to think critically. So even if you can jump right into second level physics or calculus 3, I would say start somewhere a little bit lower. Start somewhere where you are definitely going to get a good grade, and start with something that's going to help you develop critical thinking skills. So one of the things that they require of us, I think in every degree, is like a speech course. And even though speech was kind of a breeze, it taught me a lot about communication. And I would say those kinds of classes, those general ed classes, even if they're easy, they're a really, really good place to start, because you can take away something from it no matter what. No matter how smart you are, you can take something away from it.
What do you think about taking a course like that, like public speaking, as a dual enrollment student? Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, absolutely. I think courses like that, they're not homework heavy, right? The point of taking a course like that is to be immersed in the experience itself. So yes, you go home and you write a speech or whatever, but it's not about the writing the speech, right? It's about getting up and giving that speech and working with the other students in the class to develop ideas and learning to ask really good questions. I think those are things that you learn in the classroom. And so you can definitely do that alongside regular coursework, because you're not going to take home a ton of homework.
That's great. Other advice for classes to take in high school, things to think about, things to prioritize?
I just want to tack on a little bit to what was already shared, in that so much of anything project-based is going to be based around teamwork and connecting with, this is something that I was guilty of. Like I'm a very do-it-myself kind of person, and I really had to develop some different skill sets to learn how to navigate being in a team and really being successful in team. And so obviously there's maths, obviously there's science, obviously there's all kinds of stuff that you're going to have to go through. But like what was already shared, there's a huge component of being able to work on a team, to brainstorm on a team, to have those communication skills. Anything you can do to really up your game as far as being a really concise, clean speaker, to be able to get ideas out and across to anyone you're talking to, those are huge skills that really can bump you up in place. And as far as just being able to get access to different types of information, different types of situations, different types of just experiences, because you can really share what you're experiencing and share that experience back to someone else, if you're in ever in an internship or teaching role as well. So those are really, really amazing things to build alongside just those really crucial hard skills for whatever degree you're going after.
Yeah,
That's great advice.
teamwork is so important, and I kind of thought it was something I wasn't gonna need too much of in nursing, and I depend on it every single day. We could not provide good nursing care without good teamwork. And it's not always easy. It's sometimes very, very difficult, especially when you're working with people who are at all different levels. You're working with people who haven't finished high school to people who have their doctorate degree, and also that's both, those are your colleagues and your patients, and so you need to figure out how to work with each and every one of them.
Definitely. And one more thing that I would like to add to that is that do any extracurricular activities that you do, make sure that it's something that you like, that you love, that it's something that you could see yourself doing it every day and still have fun with it. I think that's the best advice that I can give you in regards like doing anything extra. If you like coding, for example, do it as a hobby, build up your own app, do something fun with it. If you like engineering, you can start building or disassembling, the toaster or something. See how it works. Like, obviously,
Unplug it first.
yeah, exactly. Unplug it first. Make sure that mom doesn't see you. No, I'm just kidding. Make sure that it's safe to do, and just figure out how it works. Like that's the basics of engineering, at least. Like figure out how it works. So teamwork, it's very, very important. Doesn't matter what field you're going to, even if you're going to be a writer. Teamwork, it's important because you will have to work with other people throughout your whole life. So if you can work those skills, and if you can do hobbies where you love and get passionate about, it will make it easier for you to find out what your call is and where you want to go. So I would say that, yeah, just do something fun that you like, that you could see yourself doing the rest of your life.
But and to go off of that, if you take the toaster apart and you're like, I hated that, don't be afraid to change your mind. It is totally okay. Community college is cheap. You can take a class and be like, oh, that wasn't that great. I'm going to find something else. And that's okay. I mean, I think that's one of the great benefits of going to community college, is that you can explore many different careers until you find what you really, really do love.
And that's the benefit of research. That hands-on experience will tell you what you really love and what you think you love, right? Like I love the idea of broccoli, but I like to eat it with a cheese sauce, So, Sarah, did you have a final comment there, or Aaron?
Yeah, well, I mean, that it's so true. Going into the hospital, I thought I was really gonna love ICU, that sort of thing. I hated the intensive care unit. I thought it was awful, but I found a new love for psychiatric care. I thought that was amazing. And so yeah, try different things until you find what you really, really love.
Yeah, and actually tapping on that, because that has been my life experience, to be quite honest. I started as a pre-med student who did internships at the hospital, didn't like it, switched to business, did that financial work for several years of my life, and then realized that's not for me. Now I am doing engineering, which I love, and that is the one thing that I can see doing for the rest of my life. And I am much older than you guys, like probably twice the age of several of you. So I can tell you that even if you feel like, oh, I'm taking too long to make a decision of where I want to go, don't rush it. Take your time. Figure out what you like and you love, and focus on that, because even if you do one thing in life and then you decide to change it later on, that's okay too. So as long as you are happy with what you're doing, I mean, that's what is important.
And some final advice, do you have some tips for managing this online and virtual world we're in? What students can do, especially when it comes to things like STEM?
So I don't know if anyone's ever heard the old term, eat your frog first, which is one of those things where essentially it's just saying do the stuff that's hardest to do first thing. I know for me, creating a routine where I tackle the thing that I was not looking forward to doing the most first thing in the morning was my biggest success. I had a win first thing in the morning, which made me feel good. And then I had everything from that bigger thing that I didn't want to do, or even it was a smaller thing that I didn't want to do. It just gave me some momentum to continue on throughout the day. And then also just really kind of creating good habits. I know this is hard sometimes, finding a place where you can really settle into what you're doing, giving yourself regular breaks, like the 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off is really magic. And then sometimes I also got external support. Like if I needed a little bump from because I was just like, this is too much. I would call someone, or if in your case, mom and dad, be like, hey, can you just give me a high five and tell me that I'm going to make it through this kind of thing? And it really does make a difference when you get support from the people around you. And yeah, it's huge. So those are my big things. Were just tackling the big thing that I didn't want to do first and getting some wins in, breaking up the day so my body and my brain felt refreshed every time I took something on, and then getting support when I needed it.
I do things a little actually kind of opposite of that, but with the same idea. I kind of make a list of all the things I need to do, and I knock out all the easy stuff. I just and I knock it out, and I go through it, even if it's due a month from now. I try to knock those out so that when I sit down for my really big project, my mind is free. I have no other clutter. I don't have anything to worry about. And it really came in handy, because what happened was in the end of this semester, when all of the other students in my cohort still had small assignments to do, all I had to do was study for finals for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, I had no homework, and all I had to do was study for finals. So it was great. I procrastinated doing the big things by doing the little things, and it served me well. But definitely make a list and check them off, because again, it's the wins. It's the wins that make you want to finish up and do a good job.
Well, there you go. You have two opposing strategies that both clearly work for successful students. Maybe that's the lesson is you've got to, don't be afraid to experiment, right, with different strategies. So Sarah, any final parting words here for us in our group?
Sure. I was gonna say I'm actually in between both of you, because I do hey, I need a break. I need people to, I need to talk to people. And also I make lists, and I make sure that I do time management. That's going to be a very important phrase for you guys from now on going into college. Time management is really important. Learning how to do things like Erin was saying in the proper time will save you so much trouble and headaches at the end of the semester. So I kind of work with both ends. I'm in the middle. But yeah, just learning how to manage your time. You know, if you want to treat it like, okay, during the next 8 hours, I'm just going to do schoolwork. I'm going to do schoolwork. And then the next 2 hours after I'm done with schoolwork, I'm going to play video games, because that's actually what I do. I just play video games for 2 hours, no schoolwork, nothing. I just free my mind. And then if I want to go back to do a homework where I got stuck, I go back to it with a fresh mind. So that helps me do what it helps. You know, you have several ideas here on how to deal with it. So do what better suits you. So that's what I would say.
That's great. Thank you. If anybody has any final questions, you're welcome to chime in now. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully, even though we did most of the talking, it got you thinking about your future, your role in STEM, and how you see yourself developing your interests and your passions. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you so very much, all of you, for spending your afternoon with us. For everyone on the line, all of our MESA students and teachers, I did put in the chat box. It is a link to the attendance and survey. It's attendance and survey link, and it is required for attendance. So for like MIMS attendance, your class attendance, that's what we're doing our final roster on. So please make sure that you complete that. It will pop up in a separate web link. If you do have any issues with opening it up or completing it, just send me an email. And I will go ahead and send that link out that way if you can't access it in the chat for whatever reason. Also make sure you hit submit. That was a problem that we had with some other ones, but make sure you hit submit and get that in. For also, just as a general announcement, this is our last STEM series for the fall semester, but our spring semester is already up online. So if you are interested, and I will also be sending, let me actually get the first date up. Our spring semester lineup is already posted. Our first one will be right when we get back, I believe January 5th, on aerospace engineering, actually, will be our first talk on January 5th. Other stuff for the spring that we have coming up is we have some sessions on forensic science. Emertech, the explosives engineering from New Mexico Tech, will be giving presentations. We have a presentation from Yellowstone National Park. So there's, again, a lot of variety in our STEM series. So please thank you for attending this one and stay tuned. But otherwise, that is officially the end of our session today. I will go ahead and stop our recording. I'll stay on the line for another minute or so if anyone has any last closing questions, and to make sure that you retrieve that survey link. But thank you all for coming, and have a great holiday break for many starting next